having that conversation on financial planning. How do you save? How do you invest, and what and where can you invest? That is the conversation we'll be having this morning with the one and only Purity Kimotho Wakahiu. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
How are you doing this morning?
I am well.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Purity Kimotho Wakahiu. I'm a financial fitness and entrepreneurship trainer, and that is what I do at FinFit Consort. And over and above that, I'm a business person. I've been out here for the past 12 years.
Okay,
oh, yeah.
Great. Do you know when we sent out that post on financial fitness, people were asking, what do you train? What is this financial fitness and entrepreneurship training?
Yeah, you know, we talk about physical fitness, but hardly we ever mention finances, and actually Kenyans don't like discussing their money. Mm-hmm. And so what we do is ask people to look at themselves. The way you tell, I mean, we use BMI for physical fitness, but what do you do as financial, you know, to know whether you're financially fit? Yes. So that is what we provoke people to look at. When you look at yourself, do you have money now to eat? Do you have something for tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Do you have something for your children? And most important, what will you eat when you're done with working or when you're no longer really productive? Mm-hmm. So we look at it in a very wide way. Finance is really, really wide, mm-hmm. but personally I focus on personal finance. Yes. Because when we deal with personal finance, then business finance and the economy as a whole will definitely do well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
we're talking about money. This whole conversation on saving and investing is all about money. Is there a definition to money? Understanding money, that is.
Money, the best definition I like giving money is that it's a medium. It's a medium of exchange. I know at the business school we were taught many things about money. Mm-hmm. But I like saying actually money is like a weed. You can't own money. Mm-hmm. Even the money that is in the bank is not yours. It's actually there. Being infested or being used by the bank. So money is just supposed to enhance us. It's something only that is used, like we have said, as a medium of exchange. It's a currency. Yes. You need it to buy, you know. But remember, before money, we still bought using what we call barter trade. Mm-hmm. But right now, of course, we also have commodities happening in the market. We have gold also becoming very popular. Mm-hmm. And like you know, our shilling has really fallen in terms of forex. It's really gone down. Yes. And it's the high time we start thinking, what else can we do, mm-hmm. you know, other than using money. Mm-hmm. We have also really I call it glorified the dollar. We also need to think as Africa and of course Asia. What else can we use? Because it's not sustainable. Yeah. Just the other day we were buying the dollar. We started selling cars in 2012 and the dollar was about 78 bob. Yeah. Now we are buying it at 150 something. Yes. So tell me, that is value that has been created only on the currency. Mm-hmm. I mean, realistically, no value actually has been created, only that the currency has really, ours has lost and theirs has gained. Mm-hmm. So there are very many conversations allowed money. Mm-hmm. But for today, we'll be looking at it as something that buys. Mm. Yes. Okay, great. Yes. How then do someone start the financial planning journey? First of all, financial planning is comprehensively looking at finances and money, and also setting goals. You know, I have had this thing of setting goals all the time. We have been told to write down our goals. But today, I came to say, where you are, is that where you wanted to be? Or depending again on age. And do you think you can actually sustain the lifestyle you have for the rest of your life? Mm-hmm. You know, if it's good. If where you are also you're not happy, mm-hmm. what else can you do? So financial planning has a lot to do with investing your money right. Mm-hmm. And what exactly you do with the money you're earning actually is what sets us apart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't like talking about, you know, money. You can never say, I'm earning enough. There's no earning enough. Even as in business, every day we say tunajaribu. Yes. And this kujaribu, it's not quantified. Yes. So someone who is a billionaire, anajaribu. Someone who is earning 10,000, anajaribu. So the thing is, what do you do with the little that you're earning? And if it's not enough, what else can you do? Mm-hmm. So as I teach about money, I also teach people about entrepreneurship, because we do know in our country, 60-70% actually of employment is created by SMEs. It's the Mama Boga, it's the Mama Gikomba, it's the Mama Hardware, it's that guy who lands an Uber taxi. Those are the people who are running this economy. You know, we call it economy kadogo in real sense. We don't have enough jobs in the government. We don't have enough jobs in corporates. I worked for Safaricom. That's where I worked most of my life. But how many Safaricoms do we have, even in East Africa or Kenya? So what else can we do besides, you know, looking for jobs in corporates? We are telling the people who are finishing university, even as you finish university, think about how you create an extra job, not just for you, but for someone else.
Yes.
So it's that serious. So that we stop over relying on, you know, polishing our CVs and buying the suits. But what else can you do, you know, to make this money that we are talking about? Yeah.
And even as we mentioned the youth, we are a generation that suffers greatly with matter saving. So perhaps it's the lack of knowledge or where to save and how to. So perhaps take us through some of the ways that we can save our money.
Yeah. There's a formula I like using called the 60-20-10-10, you know, of your income. So whatever money you're earning, let's especially for the low income earners towards you know, middle income earners. I like saying for the high income earners it may not exactly apply, so you have to adjust it accordingly. So what I say is that if you're earning 100,000 on a simple, you know, basis, 60% of that money, use it, whether it's rent you're paying, whether it's kids you're taking to school. The other important bit for me, and that is where my work is the 20%. Save it. Actually, someone has analyzed, we used to tell people to save 10%, but really, even if you save 10% now, it's really not sustainable. So we say between 20 to 25%, put that money aside. Now, saving is not enough. Invest that money. I'll be mentioning a few ways in Kenya that you can invest your money. The other 10, of course, if you're a Christian like me, you know where you take that money. You know, another 10 also. There's something called black tax in this country, not just in Kenya, of course, in Africa. I mean, you have people, you have a WhatsApp coming, you know, saying, I don't know, we have what, and it's the reality of our social, you know, landscape. So there are people who give money, and you must plan for giving that money. Because if you don't set apart money to give to people, you know, there is a ratio, there is a wedding, there is a burial, there is a medical bill to be paid. You must set that money apart. If you don't do that, you'll end up either eating into your saving or actually not eating, where the 60% is. So that's the formula I like to use.
60%, that's where also the shopping comes in.
Everything. I know. Especially in these hard economic times, I know really, most people have eaten already into the 20%. I think, I don't know, pastors need to tell us whether people are giving tithes. I mean, things are really, really hard. The inflation has really beaten us. But still, even if we don't do something about it, I mean, we'll be worse off. So you better plan, because if you don't plan, and I know at this point, when things are really tight in our economy, people now have started thinking about money consciously. You know, because you're buying sugar at 200, now it's 400. So you're wondering, where is this extra 200 coming from? Personally, I stopped drinking sugar. I mean, I don't want to think like, do I need sugar anyway? So that's just a joke. I know there are people who can't survive without sugar. But the thing is, you must look for this extra 200. And as you look for it, you're also looking for extra money to put aside. Now, you asked about where do we save our money? I know Kenyans, we have been wired to buy lard. We buy lard in all the polos, we buy lard in all Pajeta, we buy lard in all of them, and Kamuru and everywhere. Where I'm not against buying lard. I just say that if you're buying lard and it's not an immediate need, you plan over time. For example, many lard companies give you time to pay lard over even a year. So for me, that is the best model. Because land and properties are not liquid enough. And that is one of the reasons I have done a book on liquid ways to invest your money in Kenya here. This one. Because many Kenyans are not liquid. They don't have money. They have properties, good properties, but they don't have money in the pocket. So these are the few things I tell people they can put their money in. Number one is a simple thing called save in the circle. I mean, almost all circles I know about give a return of 10% per year. And then they also give about 15% on shares, what they call dividends. What they pay on your savings is called rebates. So I know we would like to ignore and say that is solely true, there's so much I can do. But what is these other things you can do? Have you done them? If you haven't done them yet, please put some money in the circle. The thing with the circle is you're also able to borrow. I mean, this thing of telling people, I need to pay a 5K, a 10K, you know, I have opened a new business, please lend me 100K. The truth is nobody has 100K set aside waiting, you know. Well, they may have set it aside for other things, but that is a lot of money. So let's start saving from the word go.
Yes.
I remember when I got my job at Safaricom, that was 2006. I was used to earning very retro. I mean, and it was still enough. That's what I keep thinking. And when I got this salary, it was not a lot. I mean, of course, whatever it was. And because I was not used to this extra, what did I do? I joined the circle immediately and started saving almost half of my salary, actually half of my gross salary. When I look at it, and I was a girl, I was not married, I didn't have children. When I look at it, it's something you have to really captivate. I remember at the same time, my colleagues were living in nice places. When we were living on Thika Road was not Thika Road, the one you know now. It was a two-lane thing.
I was wondering if you are about to throw shade on Thika Road.
No, not really. It was just some, you know, some avenue, maybe. Yeah. And there were those who were living in South B, for example, and I mean, rent was like our salary. So I kept wondering, hey man, Connie, what's happening? Me, I'm huko paying 5K rent, someone, and even that 5K sounded a lot anyway. And then these one are paying almost their salary rent. So really, it's something you just have to cultivate. And also we have to be content. I know we are living in the IG life where you see people in Maldives on IG and you're wondering, oh my God, what happened to me? But you don't know their story. You don't know their financial story. So SACCO is one of the things you can put your money in. Another thing that people think it's for the rich is money market. Right now, money market, I think, is paying between 8 to 12%, depending on where you put your money.
Perhaps break it down for viewers.
Money market.
Because people just hear this big word, money market fund.
Money market fund,
how to go about it.
Money market fund is a form of what we call unit trust. Unit trusts are very, very many. There's equity fund, there's something called balanced fund. There's now the money market. Why I like the money market is because your capital is preserved. Remember the circle where you put money, even if you are not earning dividends, your money is still intact, ideally. So for money market, because they invest in very low risk investments like treasury bills and bonds, and we'll also come back to that, and cash on call. Cash on call is where the bank is borrowing for hours, and then they return the money, and they pay very good rates to the person lending to them. It's called cash on call. So, well, that is a bit of jargon, but money market is sold by banks, like let's say NCBA. You can also buy from Standard Chartered. I have seen Standard Chartered have something as low as 500, 500 shillings, you can actually save just 500 and buy units. Each unit is a bob. So if you buy 500, you get 500 units. So it's also sold a lot by the insurance companies. We have CAC, we have ICA, we have Britam. Now, this money market, why I like it and why I like recommending it, especially for the short term investments, is that you can withdraw your money whenever you want. Okay? Remember the circle, you need to give notice of maybe 3 months or 2. Money market, I think, gives you a lock period of mostly 14 days. After that, you can withdraw your money. And you also have one free withdrawal every month in most fund managers. So you can withdraw. You can actually tell them to pay your interest every month and they'll pay you. If you need your money, you don't need to go to the, let's say, to ICA. You just, you just write them an email and tell them, I want to sell this number of units. In about between 24 and 72 hours, you have your money. So it's an easy way of putting your money. You get interest, and also you can actually compound the interest you get if you don't need to withdraw it every month. So it's something I really highly recommend to people. It is for everyone. It's for Mama Boga. It's for even big people, like Warren Buffett, for example. Big people who are doing well, they don't look for much growth in their investments. They actually only target 10%. So as we look for quick reach, get rich quick avenues, then they want to preserve what they have, and they want growth, very small growth. But this small growth, once it's compounded, it leads to big things. And that's why Warren says the eighth wonder of the world must be compounding. It's very, very powerful. The earlier you start it, the better. Do you want me to continue with the rest? Or
continue the rest.
Okay,
and
so now we are at money market. Compounding.
Very big words here, and we lose.
Compounding. Let me look for a simple word to use. Let's look at it this way. Let me use big money to talk about compounding. Let's go back to 100,000 or a million. If something was giving you 10%. Now, for example, in money market, the interest is calculated on a daily basis. By the way, the Dairy Nation publishes the rates every day. So, for example, most likely Monday most likely unless Monday they talk about Friday. So you have Tuesday all the way to Friday. You can tell rates of everybody who is in the money market, space. So the money accumulates on a daily basis. So what happens if you're supposed to earn, let's say, 10% per annum, because interest is based annually. But now, remember, it's daily, it's also monthly. So at the end of the year, you'll not get 100,000 on a million. Okay? It will be more because you earned every month, let's say, what is 10%? Let's call it, if you earn 12%, it means ideally you're earning 1% per month. But on book, it's more because that money again was returned to your investment, and then it also gave more interest. Then on the following month again, it was a plowed back. That plowing back and earning interest now is what we call compounding. Okay, so let me give an easier example of compounding. If you plant one seed of maize, how many does it generate? I mean, a lot. Yeah. A lot. You can't even count. Now, when you take that maize again, the next time you're planting, let's assume even you're getting the seeds from the same maize you harvested. Now you do double seeds. Okay, so you'll have a bigger harvest. So let's say if you had like 5 years and we have every season give us something. Then you look at where you are and where you are, it's different. It's totally different. So compounding is very, very easy. Another way, or you can talk about compounding, is that tiny seed called the mustard seed. It's very, very tiny. But when it's planted and gets out of the ground, it gives such a harvest, and for a long, long time. So that's what we need to do with our money. Don't eat all of it, because when you eat, it's gone. When you put something aside in terms of a seed, then that seed gives you more. It keeps you giving more. So that is money market. If you want more, of course, you look for me, because I have a whole of this thing. So the other simpler ways of investing your money is Treasury Bills. People think, again, Treasury Bills is a monster. I mean, I'm just a farmer. I sell tea or, let's say, milk in Kiambu. I'm a dairy farmer. I can't do this. The thing is, Treasury Bills is for all of us. Today is Tuesday. They are auctioned every week by the Central Bank of Kenya. So the first thing you need to do is open what we call a CDS account. Then for Treasury Bills, you must invest a minimum of 100,000. Now, Treasury Bills are structured in a way that you can buy one for 91 days. That's about 3 months. You can buy another one for 181 days, 182 actually. Then there's one for 364, which is typically a year. Now, the interest is also based per annum. And then once you put the money, you have to wait for it to mature. If you bought a 91 TB, you only get your money back when it matures, okay? Then you can decide to buy another one, all to take your money. That is Treasury Bills. It's basically short term. The other one is Treasury Boards. Those ones are auctioned once a month. There's one that people have a lot. It's called the Infrastructure Board, because it's not taxed. Like now, I know there was one coming up. Now, the thing is, sometimes it's hard to, as a normal mwananchi, you and me, it's hard to track which one is coming, And so you can also you can also go buy them from the secondary market. Okay? So you can walk into Standard Chartered Bank and you tell them you want to buy a board. They will tell you what is on the table. Now, the people who also buy, now, boards are a bit medium and long term. Actually, they range from 2, 3, all the way to 30 years. Okay? So you find a board that maybe we used to build Thika Road with, if it was a board. Maybe it will mature after 30 years. But what they do, they start paying back the investors after a certain, let's say if it was 15 years, by the 7th year, they start returning the investors' money slowly so that they don't have a big burden. Remember, these are sold by the government. The government do borrow. In Kenya, we are made to think that like Kenya is always borrowing from outside there. They also borrow domestically. And so that is Treasury Bills and boards are forms of domestic borrowing. So the boards, this is how they operate. You buy a board today. You already know how much you'll be earning every year in terms of dividends or interest. Now, they pay interest twice a year. A typical one, let's say you bought a board in January, you'll be paid, let's say, June and December, your interest. So every year you get, part of that, not part of that, but your interest in two ways. So let's go back again to someone who has put in, boards pay better interest because of course of their nature that they are long term. So you'll even find one paying at 15%. So you'll get 7.5% in June, another 7.5 in December. 7.5% of $1 million, for example, is about 75K. You know, that's a lot of money. I know, be like, "Ay, that's too little. Why would I, wamelala na pesa yangu?" It's a lot of money. We need to stop looking at money at it. We are not earning much. And so those are things you can actually, all of us as Kenyans, we can do. Surprisingly, foreign investors will come and buy them.
Absolutely.
And beside the what we are calling treasury bills, there are also other we call corporate boards. You know, so you'll find that Safaricom has issued a board because maybe they want to export to Ethiopia. You'll find EABL is doing an extra distillation plant or whatever, and they have issued what we call a corporate board. And of course, those you may not know, unless now you use an agent. So it's also very, very important to use an agent. The same way we buy shares through the agent, it's the same way you can also use an agent for the bills and the boards. So that is the third and the fourth ways you can actually put your money.
And even before we go to the next one, which I assume the stock markets and all that. There are Kenyans who would ask, for example, for the bonds, you are getting your interest after years. So what is the need of saving to get my interest after years, then stay broke in the meantime?
But we are saying you're getting your interest after 6 months.
6 months, it's still a lot. There's a high cost of living. How do I survive?
So there's something, again, we mentioned called leveraging. Leveraging means diversifying your investments. You look at, remember we started by saying financial planning is categorically, or, you know, looking at your situation and then setting goals and deciding. For example, you have a child who is joining school in a year. So we are used to buying what we call education policies, but there are many other ways. So for today, I'll not mention insurance. So if you have a child joining school in 3 years and you started putting money aside for that child, you see, that's a goal. If you're talking about the short-term goals, remember there's the treasury bills. We have the 3 months. If you're talking about monthly, we'll keep exploring what other ways where else can you put your money. And so that takes me to my, is it my fourth or my fifth?
This is the fourth.
It's the fourth. So stocks, shares. Again, I think in Kenya we are in this, I don't know where we are, but I remember when Safaricom issued their IPO and people were queuing in banks everywhere to buy the initial, public offer. But this is it. Shares are sold in the market every day, 9 to 3 p.m. Okay, that is the part that people don't know. So you can walk into your broker, let's say Standard Bank, and buy shares. You can go to Equity and tell them, I want to buy this counter. All you need is to open again a CDS account for that purposes. But again, the other thing that Kenyans like doing is they think when you buy shares, they must make money, which is not true. You can buy a share today. Safaricom was issued at 5 shillings. And then in the next few days it went to 7 bob. I mean, the excitement. Of course, many Kenyans, what did they do? Sell. Hey, we have made 2 shillings. And then it went down and down and for a long time until 2 shillings. Okay? So what did Kenyans do? Oh my goodness, my money is, imekunywa maji. So again, they ran and sold. So what did they do? They lost money. This is what Warren again says, Buffet, because he's the pro in the stock market. If you can't keep it for 10 years, don't touch it. Okay, 10 years. So anyway, this is how I look at shares myself. There are 2 reasons you should invest in shares. One is to earn dividends, which are earned only once a year, and depending on how the company performed. The other reason is for capital gain, but we have all agreed it does not necessarily gain. It can also go down depending on the economy. For example, realistically looking at Kenya, I think the last time we were in a good place in terms of the stock market was around 2016. After that, ni kubahatisha. And now, of course, people who are enthusiastic about the share market, they all left that market and now left the real people who invest in the stocks. So this is how I advise people to do it in terms of shares. Don't wait for a big event and buy shares. Buy shares every month. Okay? Do you have an extra 2,000? Do you have an extra 5,000? Go and which counter do you want to buy? And then when you're buying, why are you even buying? Remember, when you buy a stock or a share, because it's a unit of that company, you actually own that company. Look at it. Look at the books. Look at their ethics. There are people who will say, I can't buy shares from this organization because they are not morally aligned to my, to my beliefs, okay? Yeah. Someone will look at it and say, these people are really impacting people and I like to be associated with them. So there are many reasons why you buy a counter. So don't just go to the market and say, Sasa, I'll buy KQ today. So just sit down and say, how are their financials? Take your time. All the banks, actually everybody will listed on NSC has to do, publish the accounts. Okay. But we don't look at those things in the newspaper.
Let's take a short breather, then you come back and continue that conversation on the other end.
Yeah.
Program lineup.
Kimodo here, and before we went for a break, we were speaking about investing in stock markets. And last year we saw the president, when he was speaking at the NSA opening, he spoke about even the mama mbogas being able to assess these places in order to be able to invest in terms of shares. How then do these people get access to this information? Is there like a mobile app that these people can use, or you have to directly go do a walk into banks?
Yeah. So yeah, we are talking about mama mboga here. Of course, the mama mboga may not have a smartphone. Maybe they're using the what we call mulikamuizi. But the president was right, because shares are for everyone. Mama mboga can walk in even to Equity. Equity is quite has a presence. They can walk in to KCB. And most of the stockbrokers now, they used to be in the city and big towns like Nyeri, like Eldoret. But now you can typically walk to your bank actually and ask them, where can I buy shares? And they'll, if they're kind enough, they'll direct you and also give you many other products. I see every time we hear about the bank and the banks are meeting us, the customers, most of the things we hear about is borrow. But they also talk about their investment products. They talk about wealth creation. But as Kenyans, the Kenyans we are in ile Kenya tuko nayo, I mean, we focus on, I can't borrow from that bank. Of course, I can't keep my money there. There are very, very many products. Let me go back to Standard Chartered. They have these, they even have investments in what we call overseas. You see, the way we are crying here about the dollar, people are making it big, because if you went and invested a few dollars in their offshore, or what they call offshore investments, they are the ones reaping big. So we'll be here saying, oh, the economy is bad. Then you go to the road, you find people driving 40 million cars. I just saw a 40 million car the other day, this week, and said, goodness, are we all in Kenya or what? Yeah. So the truth is, some of those people have learned they learned the secret. And please, when you're sick, what do? You go to the hospital. Yeah. You seek medical attention. Please, go seek financial help. Financial help doesn't mean you're sick, actually. That's the beauty. Yeah. It means you want direction. Yeah. So pay as coaches, pay as financial coaches, financial trainers. Let's tell you what to do with your money. Yes. And imagine you'd be paying for 1 hour or 2 hours, and then you have a trajectory of your life. Because we don't know everything. Yeah. We don't know everything. I mean, personally, I'm lucky to have trained in finance and also marketing. But deep down, I am a finance person, but out here I'm a marketer. I mean, so not everyone did even business. Yes. But the same way we all didn't do medicine. So when you feel like, hey, I don't think I'm fine, I think actually need to be checked. Yes. We need to get to this habit of getting checked. My Japanese friend, we work with the Japanese, we have a partnership with them. And they surprised me, they told me, in Japan, every year you must go for a medical checkup, compulsory. They say the same way we take cars for service, there it's compulsory as a human being to go for medical checkup. So I want to advise Kenyans, go for a financial fitness checkup every year, every 3 months, every 6, depending on the goals you've set and where you want to be. So back to shares. If you have a smartphone, most of them have an app. I was telling you when we were on break, I'm at SBG, Standard, what they call Stanbic now. And they have an app here. You will load money using M-Pesa to your CDS account. The money stays there. You can actually see the money you loaded right on the app. From there, you can actually put an order. You go online, you can actually see what was the highest in Safaricom in the day. Then you place your order. Let's say Safaricom was selling at 19 bob. Yes. The highest and the lowest was 17. You can decide you want to be on the lower side. And sometimes you place an order and you don't get because maybe your price was too low. And sometimes you put it high and you actually don't get enough of what you had ordered. Or sometimes actually you get. So those are things you can monitor. You no longer need to call. I remember initially we used to go to, what was Stanbic before? Because now it's Stanbic. We would go to Kenyatta Avenue and queue, deposit money. Yes. Then now after that, now you place an order. You go back to your broker and place the order. It was really hectic. Yes. And you'd waste a whole half day just doing that exercise. But like we have said, we can actually do this. And there are many other brokers that have come and made it easy really to buy shares. So let's get help. Let's go ask those questions. The bank is there to serve you. You know, we fear bank managers. And walk in straight and say you want to see the bank manager, even if you're wearing your Crocs from the village or gumboots. Walk in, ask, I want to know about shares. So personally, I try as much as possible to educate, even old parents, you know, people, the women I do chama with, I try as much as possible to educate them. But because this help is available and we know the financial coaches out here, go look, the same way you look for the best gainer, the same way you look for the best, you know, oncologist. Let's get into the habit of seeking who can help me do this, invest in this. You don't need to be told put money here and then in 2 days it has disappeared. Let's get used to doing the mainstream things because they are available for us. Because Kenyans, we also have this habit of, we are told Quill is making money, all of us. We do Quill. We are told now it's Uber, all of us it's Uber. Yet there are traditional things that have been happening for years, since 1800, that can help us.
I know that the exchange rate for the dollar has hit 150. I think this is a historical high. How can Kenyans leverage on that? There's the whole conversation on open a dollar account, but what other ways can Kenyans use to actually leverage on this increase now?
Increase in the dollar. Those of us in business, the truth is we're also looking for opportunity to trade within East Africa. That's a reality. We are looking for barter trade also. You exchange goods, you know, little goods. You know the way they used to exchange cows and goats and beans and maize? Because if, for example, Kenya need maize, for example, and beans from Tanzania, and Tanzania needs something else, why would they not do that trade? Why do they have to every time base whatever trade they are doing with the dollar? Because that is what happens. We buy cars from Japan in our business, and there's the yen. The yen is always almost equivalent to the shilling. But now also it gets to a place where now they also base it on the dollar. So where you are supposed to take advantage, ideally you should have an advantage by buying in their local currency. But with time you realize also because of the reliance of the dollar, you're also still not really making much. So that is the other thing. You can trade actually in the currency of the other country. And one main thing I want to mention today is that Kenya, we are consumers. I don't know. TikTok, you go to TikTok. Kenya apparently is fourth, you know, in the world in use of TikTok. But what do you do with our TikTok? You go there, you have 100K followers, all you do is dance. You never make anything with TikTok. Go to China and look for TikTok. Someone is talking about a cup you would think is an airplane. They will discuss the cup, they will sell to you the cup. They're using it for business. So let's create content and monetize it. So as Kenyans, let's look at producing, not just consuming. You go to the supermarket right now and tell me how many things are made in Kenya. There are so few. If we were making things, even for our own consumption, it will really stabilize the dollar. Go to Ethiopia here, they make their own shoes, they make their own clothes. You may want to say Kenya is doing better than Ethiopia, but let's just get basic. You go to the supermarket here, buy a toothpick made in China, for example. I have a clothing business, I make clothes. But what do people do? I want from Turkey, I want, you know. Yet we don't even, Kenyans, we don't even have a dress code. When you go for these meetings in Africa, the Nigerians will come dressed up. I was in a conference last week and we were with Africans from Liberia, Sierra Leone. You look at yourself and you look like a Muzungu, seriously. But I have this friend of mine, he is a professor at the Nairobi University, and he came and told me, you need to make me African shirts because I'm tired of showing up in Netherlands or UK looking like a Muzungu. It's even confusing. So let me show up with my Ankara shirt. And we do that. And if we look at such things, they look basic, like mama anashona nguo, but what does that do? It lifts our economy. Look at COVID. COVID came. Then we discovered we need masks. You know, I had been going to China and I would see people in masks, not during COVID, before. I used to wonder why are so many people wearing masks. Maybe it's because they have their own, respiratory maybe issues or exposure. Now, in Kenya, what did people try to do? The lady who was just sitting outside the shop doing repairs for people, they started making masks. And it became a big, big business. Look at it that way. We manufactured masks. We use them here. We use them in hospitals. So the thing is we need to be producers. If you have the lads we said we are buying from one corner of Kenya to the other, from Riat in Kisumu to Malindi. If we go just plant fruits. Today morning I was looking at my neighbor's compound and I discovered around her house she has planted all types of fruits. Lemons, mangoes. Actually her mangoes sometimes fall into mine. So instead of buying mangoes during mango season, and you have a mango tree in your home. So let's look at production in that sense, because that will first stabilize our economy and give us an edge and a niche against even this dollar we are talking about. It's something as basic as that.
Still talking about matter saving, let's now talk about investing in a business. We've seen so many people nowadays even quit jobs, these white collar jobs, and go into investing into a business. What the nitty-gritties of starting a business in Kenya before we even come at some of the examples of how Kenyans can now invest and in what business right now.
So like we said from the beginning, I mean, this economy heavily relies on the SME and what we call MSME, micro, small, medium, you know. And what I'm teaching people is to stop staying at micro, so that we bring them at least to medium, so that we can also become the corporates, so that the next time we are also the ones who are being listed, you know, at the NSC. And starting a business is not rocket science. That's what I like saying. And I have had many people say, oh, I was not made for business. I don't have the business, you know, acumen, and I don't have what it takes to learn a business. But I ask people like, the reality where the economy is now is that learning a business in Kenya, a big business, for example, has become very expensive. And so what is the easiest thing to do? To reduce on overheads. I want to assure you, because I've been in business for a while, the biggest overheads of a business is actually human resource. So what are businesses doing? They are cutting costs by sending people home. So you said you can't do business, right? So the employer has come. They have told you, no, we can't do this. I mean, we really have to send you home. It's the reality on the ground. won't you start selling eggs? Let's just go basic. When it comes to businesses, the reason I wrote this book is because I wished I had come across this book when I resigned from my good job. I call it my good job because it was my dream job at Safaricom.
Yes.
But my reason for leaving employment was not to go do business, by the way. I was going because I had a small child and I thought I was not doing parenting justice. So, and I know there are many, many mothers out here, I don't know about fathers, who have to really sacrifice their good careers and go pick it much later. I tried looking for what we call a flexi job, and where I could go home early, and I couldn't get at that time. And I thought, no, I have to leave. But I thought if I only used 4 hours to do something, actually I didn't know what this something was going to be.
Yes.
And my something became selling earrings. You won't believe it. I used to sell earrings and handbags and make, let's say, 2 times my gross salary. But who would believe that? Who believe that? I mean, you have to put your suits
on
down.
Retail or wholesale?
Let's call it hawking.
Okay. Interesting.
Let's call it hawking. I like calling it that way because that is what it is. Because if you have to take a product to where the customer is, you know, you have seen the banks. The banks come to our kayad to look for business. That's hawking.
Yes.
I mean, we have made. I even remember one of my former colleagues enjoying me saying, "Hey, now you left a good job to become a hawker." Sure enough, yes. Even now, I'm still hawking. I'm still hawking my services. I'm hawking cars. You have to look for customers.
Yes.
And the minute Kenyans we stop feeling nice in suits, I mean, I don't even know where my suits went because I used to nice heels. Let me tell you, for years I couldn't wear heels unless on Sundays because I'm operating in Marikiti, not Marikiti, Gikomba, to Isiri, to Kamukunji, you got that, to Nyamakema, to River Road. That was my zone. Tell me you have a degree. Now, my parents took, I don't know whether they have recovered yet. I mean, been 12 years. I mean, you leave a nice job and go out here to hustle. This is ridiculous. They were depressed. Only that they could see I'm not asking them to give me money. And what I say about starting businesses, start where you are. Don't overthink. You're like, I love, how I added to earrings, by the way, is my friend told me, I told her, now I need to start a business, but I don't know how. I had never imagined in my whole life I would never do business. I was happy as a career woman. And I mean, my life was set, I'm telling you. But life happened. So she told me, you love earrings. I told her, I love earrings. So what does that have to do with business? Yeah, sell earrings. So I asked her, where do earrings come from in this town? She told me, come, I take you. So she took me to a back street, to a downtown street called Du Bois. It's a very short street between Gatema and Akla. And showed me, this is where you shop for earrings. Then she told me about Karioko. My goodness. I lived near Karioko for many years, but I had never noticed what happened. There's a market there that sells African earrings. And the first time I actually started business, I took leave. I didn't resign first. Went to Karioko and bought earrings and took them to Kigari. Can you imagine? My first hawking was in Kigari town. So the thing is, get out here with confidence, start where you are, stop overthinking. And this thing of what will people say about you, those people who are saying something about do not care, they will not bring food at your table. So please go ahead and start that business. You want to sell eggs, please start finding out who farms eggs and then supply them in offices, whether it's boiled egg or whatever. You want to sell, I was in the village last week and I discovered it's the avocado season. But I mean, they are in the village, they are selling like so many for 20 bob. Here, one is, even when they are on season, it's 30 bob. So many people who are, especially out here, they have taken advantage of that opportunity. So every season, there is an opportunity for business. And the most important thing I like saying about where to invest your money is actually running a business. Start something. Start a trade. Even if you're working, even if you're employed and the money is not enough, please start something. Start selling. Those initial days when I was selling things, I sold them for many years, by the way. We would go to Kampala with my friend, and I'm telling you, we used to get tired because we leave here at 5 a.m., get there at 6, sleep. Now it's a foreign, and then you're sleeping in very digi places. I mean, it must be like Kirinyaga Road. That's where we used to get rooms. So you imagine what goes on in Kirinyaga Road at night. It was happening where we were sleeping, and then we were like, oh my goodness. So even sleeping is, you wake up the whole day, you're shopping. In the evening, you board a bus and come back. By the time you get here, my friend, you're so tired. But we had to start there. So for businesses, what do I say? Stop overthinking, start small. Even if you're starting small, dream big, dream very, very big, and then start anyway. There's no formula. Just start your business. I do a lot of business counseling or entrepreneurship counseling. I sit with you, you tell me, no, I want to start a trade. What do you want to start? I may not necessarily tell you start this, But I'll tell you, have you said you want to start? So then we'll evaluate it and then see whether it's doable.
Yes.
And then we start. The power of starting is really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are in the social media era right now. How then do you link your business to social media, and how do you market it there? And for people, mostly, we've seen people going to online business right now. How do you now leverage your social media presence and your business in order to make sales?
It's good you asked that question because it would have skipped my mind. First, I want to say it's the best time to be alive, really, in this generation we are in. Look at your phone. My phone normally will tell me the average hours I have used on social media. But I want to ask people, how many hours do you use on Facebook? And what are you getting from those hours? Because those hours you're supposed to be generating. You remember we talked about production.
Yes.
I remember we started selling cars in 2012, and it took me about a minimum of 3 years before I sold the first car using Facebook. But what? Every time we had a car that came, I posted it. Now, for handbags, I would order, this link is called what from China? It's called what? Alibaba. I'll order bags, because you can't go to China every other day. I'll order bags from Hong Kong, start marketing them the day I have paid. By the time they get here, which is weeks later, the only thing I'm doing is, and that is a while ago, it's more than 10 years ago, I'm now delivering the bags. Kenyans, please stop wasting time on social media and use social media. It's so powerful, especially in marketing. Wake up and talk about your product. Wake up, even yourself, you're a product. Last week I went for a show by Auntie Jemima, and all we did is listen to her story.
Yes.
And then I looked at the place, it was packed. Actually, we were actually not even supposed to enter because apparently we paid late. So I looked at her and said, what is she selling? She's selling a product called her. So the other thing I teach people about is to package themselves to be a product, just as you are. Yes. Imagine each one of us has a unique gift. If you're in media, not everybody can do media, even the English, not everybody has English. Please use that to advance your life. So wake up, go sell something on social media. There are WhatsApp groups also. In the estate WhatsApp group, I was thinking in the morning, if I want eggs, if I want tomatoes, and not kawaida people, you'll think they are mama boga, but think what? There's someone who sells ripe bananas only. Another only sell, there's a lady who delivers for me fish. Even yesterday she delivered. I have never seen her with my eyes. So she'll just tell, there's fish today, I'll tell her, deliver too. In the morning or in the evening, I'll pay her. Have I ever seen her? I have never seen her. But she marketed on WhatsApp. So the thing is, there's so much potential. Even as we say the economy is doing badly, my friend, there are people who are making money. Even COVID came, it killed businesses. But also, millions and thousands of businesses were born through COVID. You can simply sit in your house and market a product.
Absolutely.
Personally, I do these trainings. Even today, I'll still do a training. What will I do? I'll go to Zoom, log in, and then talk. I don't even know where that customer is. I'll be, maybe she's watching me today. We will have a conversation, and then she will get helped. I'll also get some coins in my pocket. We used to call, stay-at-home mom. By the time I was leaving work, I was ready to stay-at-home mom, raise my children, and go back to career. But I discovered I can actually do this. I would wake up when I got my second son and go to Isiri, buy handbags, come take photos. It's a while. Facebook was not, it was just something. Post them, stay with my child. Actually, I'll wake up before he wakes up, come back, find out him awake, stay with him. And then now all I'm doing is delivering these bags. And by 4 p.m., I'm back to the house. So even stay-at-home moms, oh my, there are so many opportunities. People who are in college, please stop wasting time. You have 2 classes only in a day. I was in campus, I know. There are days we actually went the whole day with doing nothing. Please find out in the neighborhood what happens. Go find something you can do when you're not in class. Because it's the reality. In America, they are doing it. In Australia, they are doing it. You're able to work even as you school. So that by the time you finish school, you hit the road learning. Now we have people finishing university. I asked a guy the other day, he's in JKUAT. So where you're doing what course, he's struggling even to say what course. So where do you want to work? He has no idea. Okay? Then that person is the one who is delivered to come work for TV47. People who are clueless. It's really serious. Let's start doing something where we are with what we have. And most importantly, even as we say there are no jobs in Kenya, there is a lot of work in this country. Get working, whether you're getting paid or not, because it's in the working that now you will now get something. I go to speak in churches. Am I paid? Of course, you can't be paid by a church to speak about money.
Yeah.
You'll go help them. But what will happen? Someone will be there listening to you and say, I need to talk to that lady.
Yeah, at
Then
a
she'll
personal
call me
level.
at a personal level
Yes.
and get something going. So Lily, there's so much in this country.
Yeah.
There's so much if we look at it from an abundance mindset. Forget about scarcity.
Yeah.
Scarcity by there has nothing to do with poverty. It's all in the mind.
Yeah.
And you can have so much, but you're poor in the mind. So let's embrace abundance.
Yeah. Maybe even as we wrap up, let's talk about human resource and human capital, because most businesses, mostly when it flourishes and becomes big, you can't work alone, you need people. So how do you improve that employer-employee relationship? Yeah.
First, again, in our country is very unique, and I really love Kenya. Every time I step out, I want to come back very fast. I mean, that job that you have, for example, let me dwell, because I'm an employer, it's long since I was an employee. Because I'm an employer, let me put it this way. I tell the people I work with that they actually own the business. And what you do when you're employed will determine how successful you'll be, especially when you step out there to work elsewhere, or even to open your own business. If you want to leave your employer and go start a business, do it when you're at your high.
Yes.
Give it your best, so that when you're leaving when you're here. Employees, stop treating your employer's job as siwezi mpea hiyo masaa yote. I mean, I'm giving too much to them. You're not giving to them, you're giving to yourself. You're actually investing in yourself. So even as you work, give it your best, be diligent. Because even God in heaven requires for us to be diligent. True. He says, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all diligence. So whether you're a sweeper, sweep it so that people say, they once lived a sweeper. Whether you're an Uber driver, have you ever entered an Uber and then you say, oh my, that guy is, then the other times you're like, oh my goodness, I regret. So that is it. Just differentiate yourself as a person, because like we have said, you're actually a product. Yes.
Great. And maybe as in less than 30 seconds, talk about final shot on patience in terms of waiting for return on investments.
Patience is actually not an option. It's something we must cultivate. If you are not patient, you must learn to be patient. Because if you don't learn to be patient, what happens is that you keep losing. The same way you raise a child and you don't want, I mean, you got a child yesterday and in 1 year, you don't want them to look like they're 18 years. I mean, you have to wait. So let's learn to wait on our businesses to grow. Let's learn to wait for our investments. Don't put money somewhere. You know, you cannot plant maize in the morning and then every day you're there checking, how far have we gone? The same with investments. Please invest and go. Look for another investment. Put a little money on money market. Put a little money in business. Put a little money in a circle. And then when you borrow, I like talking about debt management a lot because it's also my specialization. When you borrow money, Kenyans, please pay. Because if you're not paying money you borrowed, number one, you're a thief. Number two, even the Bible says you're actually a slave to the debtor. So let's pay back. Let's be patient. Let's wait for our time. Even as people post there in Hawaii or wherever or in Dubai, wait for your time. And in the meantime, work on it.